This is going to be a very quick video as to how you should export your spreads with crops and bleeds. All right, so as you can see, we have a spread right here, two-page spread. And what we're going to do is we're going to put bleeds on this, and we're going to export it out with crops and bleeds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this magenta frame right here, and I'm going to put it to the edge of the page. All right, you can see it's touching the edge of the page on all four sides. All right, I'm going to do this here and here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the magenta. I'm going to make it so that it aligns to the edge of the page on, actually it's going to be on three sides because the center, well, on all four sides, So now, this document right here, even though I have bleed lines, is not bleeding, the content is not bleeding off this page. So even though I have bleed lines, there is no bleed per se. In order for there to be a bleed, your content has to bleed off the page. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the magenta and I'm going to pull it out so that it actually bleeds off on the top and the sides and the bottom. And it will not bleed off in the middle because that's where it meets the right page. So the inside of every spread will not bleed, but the outside, being the tops, the sides, and the bottoms, are going to bleed. So here now we have two pages, a spread that bleeds on four sides: top, bottom, left, and right. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to export this thing out with crops and bleeds. So the first thing you want to do as you're working with your document, you want to save your document. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to call this thing my spread. I'll target the desktop. All right, so I have my spread on the desktop. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to File. I'm going to go down to Export. All right, and when I go down to Export, I have to decide what format I want to export it in. I want to export it as Adobe PDF Print. Adobe PDF Print. My spread, as you can see, it picked up the name of the document, and I'll say Save. Now at this point, there's a few things we need to do. You always want to click on View PDF after exporting. It's a courtesy to you so that after the exports, it'll open it up in Acrobat and you can see exactly what you just exported out. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go, and this is really, really quick and very, very fast. We're going to go down to Marks and Bleeds. And even though you have all these options for your marks, your crop marks, all you have to do, and please class, just click on crop marks. Do not click on everything else because it's not necessary. Just crop marks. And then what you're going to do is click on Use Document Bleed Settings. And once you use Document Bleed Settings, you're going to notice everything grayed out because you don't need to see this because you're using the actual bleed settings that you set in your document. And just a little FYI, your typical bleed size is 1/8 of an inch or 9 points. And the way you put in 9 points in InDesign is P9. That's 9 points. But if you're not sure, you can type in 0.125 IN, which is 1/8 of an inch, or you could type in 1/8 IN, and it'll automatically, InDesign will automatically make the conversion. So we'll say also one more thing, I forgot this. Instead of saying pages, very, very important, say spreads. So you actually look at the pages side by side as a spread. So we'll say export, and then here you go. You're looking at your document that you just printed out as spreads with crops and bleeds. And if you notice, if I zoom in on this, you see this, okay, this right here represents your trim, or the crop marks, and this is the bleed that's going beyond that point. Okay, that's how you export your document as spreads with crops and bleeds.